Thanks for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. You can find us wherever you find podcasts or listen to music. When you have an opportunity, please give us a 5-star review, write a little note, tell us how we're doing. We really appreciate it. It helps us keep this thing going. If you want to reach out to us, you can find us at Facebook at Hidden Tracks. Instagram is at HiddenTracks99, and if you'd like to send in submissions or talk to us or give us any feedback about what we're doing, our email is myhiddentracks99@gmail. Thank you so much again for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Southeast of somewhere, in the same part of town as you, and I know that you don't care, 'cause you've been through it all before. Fell asleep with the lights on, barely took off my shoes, by the time that my eyes closed, I had a dream about falling in love. What if we loved? What if we backed our backs again? And then we both died in a car crash, and there was nothing left to say. If I sit right here all night, with nothing left to fight, would you come inside? The water here's just fine. There's something on your mind, and I can tell.
What's up, everybody? I have Chance from the awesome band Kerosene Heights, a band that we had on our weekly threes of bands you should be listening to. Totally stoked to have him here today. How you doing, Chance?
I'm good. Hello.
So
Thank
welcome
you for
to
having me.
Oh, it's an absolute honor for us to have a band such as yours, especially when we put you on our weekly threes of bands that we want people to know more about. So, it's pretty awesome to have the bands that I scream from a mountaintop that people should be listening to, and have someone here from the band. So thank you for doing it.
For sure. Happy to be here.
So you just got off playing some shows, and you are now back to regular life. What was the best part about what you just went through?
So we did almost a month for our album that we released in May. It was like our release tour. And then we played Coachella and Fest, and the tour was great. I mean, so many things. It felt like the first time that we were like playing to people who knew our songs, and like people showing up for us and like driving out to shows from like far away. That was really crazy. And then ending it on the like 2 festivals was huge, because I mean, like at festivals, when you've been hitting the road like we have, you just have so many friends all in the same place, and it's like a huge full Fest and Coachella were both like huge full
They're
circle
family
moments.
reunions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like all people that I've met in the last 2 years of being in this band, and just like all getting to enjoy each other's music and like everything we've done this year and before that. So that was the coolest part to me, is just like those two. The tour was amazing. We toured with so many great bands and played with so many great bands, but like doing those festivals and seeing all of those bands again, and just like it felt victorious,
Yeah. And playing with those people and getting to spend that time, I mean, that kind of stuff is pretty spectacular. And to be a part of those festivals and getting to watch the other bands, because, truthfully, I mean, you aren't an awesome band, but you're also a huge fan of awesome bands, right? So
Yes,
being
big
able
time.
to enjoy all that at the same time, well, enjoying the fruits of your own labor is pretty fucking special.
For sure. It was a great time. They both were. that was the second time we'd played Fest. And like last year when we played, we were a brand new band, you know. We only had our EP out. I don't think us signing to No Sleep was even announced yet. And so, or I don't even think we were at that point. I am terrible with time, but
It was October last year.
yeah. Okay, yes. We signed to No Sleep on that tour, but it hadn't been announced yet or anything. So it just felt really cool to like come back a year later and like actually like there were people at our set last year, which was crazy to me, but then to come back and like, I don't know, feel like we've done a lot and made a lot of friends was huge.
Yeah, well, I think what's awesome about things like Fest and Riot Fest and all these, crazy, festivals that are going on is that you get a chance to showcase, smaller bands that are just starting out. And that to me sometimes is I don't need to go see Hot Water Music for the, you know, 15th time. I want to go check out someone that's trying to make it, because
Yeah,
that's the
definitely.
moment. That's the moment where you're like, oh fuck, man, this is awesome. People are really doing this, and it's good to see. That's what I love about those types of things. I go to the smaller venues and run in. I want to see a band blow me away. I
Yeah.
already know who's going to blow me away. That are the big names that everyone's there to see. But at the same time, I have more fun at the smaller ones watching guys like you last year just trying your hardest and being like, this is who we fucking are. We're here. Recognize us.
Yeah, it feels great. And Fest is like the best about that. You know, you'll see bands of all kinds, of all different sizes. Like if you're doing anything cool, there's a good chance you could get on Fest.
You just got to be one of those bands that uploads good music to Spotify.
Yes, yeah. That's
Yeah,
the
no.
official qualifier.
Yeah. So for you, I mean, how did Kerosene Heights start? Like, what was the push forward for you guys?
Um, so none of us are originally from Asheville. Um,
Not many people are.
yeah, it's one of those places for sure.
Yeah, it's
Um,
definitely an implant place. My wife's aunt and uncle live there now. Like, it's just beautiful place to be and coolness all about it. And one day that coolness will wear away because too many people will be there.
oh, it's happening now. I mean, like any complaint I have about Asheville is the same of any cool, like quote unquote cool city, you know. There's a lot of like bullshit politics and stuff, but it is beautiful and I like it here a lot. Um, that aside, I moved to Asheville the day that quarantine started, March 18th, 2020.
Perfect timing.
I know, right? So I was moving into a sober living, trying to like get my life a little bit more in order. I'd grown up and was living in Nashville, Tennessee prior to this. Um, and I had done like vocals in hardcore bands when I was younger. But in between that and Kerosene Heights, I like was into producing music and like kind of just across the board. I've always loved music. I haven't always played it, but when I moved to Asheville, I didn't know anybody here, so I was like, if I want to keep writing music, like I'm gonna have to finally learn guitar at the ripe age of 25.
It's never too late.
Yeah, and so I bought a shitty acoustic guitar and just spent
Nylon or metal strings?
Um, I couldn't even tell you, to be honest. It literally, I bought it. It's like the cheap Fender from Guitar Center, and I'm left-handed, so it was like $150 Fender from Guitar Center that I've probably never changed the strings on. And yeah, I just kind of taught myself to play guitar at that point. It was COVID. It was like kind of the perfect time to do that, you know. I just sat in a garage all day long every day and played guitar, and then I started recording songs on my phone and putting them on Bandcamp. Moved out of my sober living, met who is now my current partner, and their best friend had just started dating this dude named Justin. And so just through randomly being around each other, we like followed each other on Instagram. realized that we were both into like emo music and punk music. And so I showed him like the stuff I've been doing on my phone. And he was very nice about it and still is, he's like, I saw potential in that stuff,
Yeah, he never said it was good. Just
yeah.
there were layers of potential in some
I
of that
could see
stuff.
that there was something here, and I met Elle, who is our current bassist, through a coworker of mine at the time. And just kind of like me and Justin met and we're like, if we can ever find a drummer and a bassist, like let's start a band. We're both kind of writing songs just on our free time. Neither of us are from here. And then we did find a drummer and a bassist, and like there's been some lineup changes and stuff since then, but that's like the story for the most part. Elle worked here at Moog, and met them through a friend at work, and it's basically just been that since then.
Nice. So for you, I mean, saying that it's crazy, but again, it's never too late. But 25, starting to play, guitar. What was it when you were, I mean, you've always loved music. So what was it when you were a kid when things kind of changed? Like when you kind of started to realize what music was, it wasn't just background noise for you.
Yeah. So, my dad, I pretty much have to credit my dad with, my taste in music. And like, I can probably trace a pretty straight line to the things I like now, to the things that he showed me. When my dad was like a teenager in the 90s and into hardcore, and so like he ended up showing me a lot of cool stuff, but the first thing that I feel like I like super attached to, funnily enough, was Kiss. He was watching that movie where Kiss is in a theme park, and I want to say there's like robot Kiss members around or something, and they're like fighting them with rock or something like that, and I thought that was sick.
I mean, the only way you fend off robots is with rock.
Yeah. I think my dad was watching it like, I'm going to watch this stupid Kiss movie. And I was just like mind blown, at like 5 years old or whatever.
I mean, it's sad to say that, Kiss is on their 7th farewell tour, but we may need them with, AI and stuff now.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So my dad being like a super cool, huge music person, like shortly after took me to see Kiss on like probably their 3rd farewell tour, maybe their 4th. I don't know.
Was that your first concert ever?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I actually just posted a picture of it on Twitter of me. My dad made me like a full Gene Simmons costume, and I'm like, probably like 7 years old or so, in a full Gene Simmons costume. My dad is like smoking a cigarette inside the arena venue because it was like 2001 or whatever.
Because you could.
Yeah. It's a really funny picture. I just posted it the other day. So yeah, that was my first show. And then from there, like, once again, my dad just kind of like walked me through punk music growing up, like giving me what felt appropriate for my age as I grew up,
Yeah, so he didn't give you Black Flag at 8 years old. He gave that to you later on.
Probably close to 8. Yeah. But like just kind of chronologically giving it to me. I've never talked to him about this, but it starts with like the Clash and like Sex Pistols and those kinds of bands. And then gets more into like the Descendants and Gorilla Biscuits, and he was big into garage rock. So like all the Memphis garage rock stuff that was happening, I was really into growing up. But yeah, that's basically where I got into music, and it was immediately punk music, and I haven't like diverted so much from that.
So that's a great education. I mean, having someone just, age appropriately just being like, hey, no, now listen to this. Like I didn't have that. I used to have to steal shit from my brother and sister who were older than me to figure out and then find my own way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's something that I've been talking about recently, like, the only downfall to it is that like whenever my friends are making jokes about classic rock music, I just don't get it. Like I don't know shit about anything like that. I'm completely missed that part of pop culture other than Kiss.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Kiss is its own phenomenon, right? Like, I'll be perfectly honest, and I'll sit here. I mean, out of all the music Kiss has, I mean, I think you take all their greatest songs and you barely eke out a greatest hits album of 12 songs. Like, that's
Yeah,
just
for sure.
that's my feeling. They were something completely different, and that's why they were two Jewish guys from New York that
Yeah.
what are we going to do? No one's, and when you see them without their makeup, they're like, okay, we're not going to watch this. But when you put this whole show together, I mean, that's the kind of stuff too, that's why it lives forever, right? Because it's a full experience.
For sure. And like at the time that I found Kiss through my dad, I was into like Power Rangers and
Yeah.
wrestling and shit, So like it tracks. Like it is that and like, kind of rock music. It combined both for me.
Yeah, there's a reason why there was the Kiss theme in WCW. I mean,
yeah,
because it fit, right?
exactly. Same with Misfits later.
Yeah. Well, we're going to start a whole new show to just talk about wrestling now, because I can do that forever too. Because I was a nerd growing up, and do I still pay attention? Sometimes.
Yeah. I was having this conversation with somebody recently. I actually don't pay attention anymore, but I was die hard as a kid.
You almost had to be. It was, at that time when you were growing up, man. That was it.
Yeah.
Like, that was everywhere. So it was hard to
I don't
get
know
away
why,
from it.
but Mankind was my favorite wrestler. I thought he was so sick. Probably like in the Kiss vein again. I don't know, just had like an edgy look about him.
Yeah, he was an entertainer.
Yeah.
That's all. So when you started to, after your nice brief education from your father, like, how did you start to find your own music? And do you remember like the first thing you found on your own that you wanted to share with people?
I feel like my dad got me into the like stuff that's cool to share with people, and then from that point I started getting into like weird shit that I knew was kind of weird, just with my friends. So like, I don't think I was in high school yet. It might have been my freshman year in high school, maybe. But my best friend at the time, he had an older brother who was in a hardcore band, and he was just like involved with the scene that was going on in Nashville at the time. So we would like, go through his iTunes library or like steal t-shirts and shit out of his room, and like get into stuff through that. It was like a lot of like folk punk stuff and heavier music. And at some point, his band was playing a show that we ended up getting invited to by him. And he was opening up for Capitalist Casualties and Verbal Abuse and maybe one other band, but I can't remember. But like old like 90s power violence hardcore shit like that. And so we went to that show and I was like 13 or 14, and that was the moment that I knew for sure, like, I want to be in a band. I want to do vocals in a band. I was kind of scared of it. They all kind of scared me, they had like,
yeah, if you're going to a Verbal Abuse show at that age, I mean, you're going to get a little scared at times.
but I liked it. I liked it. I was
it's that adrenaline scared dump, like you're just like, oh my God, this is fucking insane. I don't know why I like this. I don't know why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, but there's something going on.
Yeah. And I immediately was just like, this is what I want to do. It didn't happen immediately. I was living in a suburb of Nashville at the time, but then 1 year later, me and my mom moved to Nashville proper, and I started to go to high school in the city. And that's when I met people who were also into that shit and were like going to the shows that I like was seeing about through my friend's brother, like they were actually doing it and they were my age. And that is how like I ended up starting my first band.
What was the name of that first band?
Oh God. It was called Fenris. I had a weird, like, I thought all the stupid black metal shit was really cool. And I think like one of those guys went by that name. One of those like mayhem dude, someone in that, I don't know. It just sounded cool and it meant wolf. So I was like, run it, you know?
Yeah.
And it was very misguided because like I was at no point was it black metal at all, even though the name like sounds very much like that.
Singing pop country tunes.
It was heavy music, but it was wrong. And it was like whatever I was into that week, you know, like maybe I discovered Municipal Waste that week, so we have a thrash song, or like I discovered Seisha, so we have like a screamo song, or I discovered His Hero Is Gone and we have a crust punk. Like it was just me and my friends figuring out.
Wow, I haven't heard
music.
His Hero Is Gone's name in a long time.
Another band my dad showed me. We're from Memphis, and like
Yeah.
he went to high school with those dudes. So
Well, yeah, I think I have their first album on tape. I think it came out in like 91 or something like that. That's
Yeah.
fucking old. I'm old, so yeah.
that band rocks. So yeah, it was just kind of, that band was just kind of like, you know, whatever. I was always into heavy music, but whatever heavy music I was into at that time, like while I was figuring it out, that's what that band sounded like.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, that's when you're starting out, right? You're pulling from everything you're listening to because you don't know yourself what you're supposed to be doing yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, did you play any instrument prior, to being 25? And like, did you have to, for me and my generation, it was every single person, had to take piano lessons for some reason, and then no one continued doing it. But did you play anything else prior to learning guitar at 25 during COVID?
Yeah. So like when I was really, really young, my parents bought me a guitar at some point, just like the classic, whatever. I don't even know what it was, but like beginner
Probably
guitar.
Washburn.
Yeah. Something like that. And I can't stress enough how I learned nothing on it. Like I didn't learn anything. Like I went to, I think, a guitar class and they started doing scales and I was just like, I'll never get this. I'll never understand this. And then when I was like 15 and really into my like folk punk era, I got a banjo and I played that a little bit. But once again, like, I don't know, it took me like a year of playing guitar to feel like I was like a guitar player, and I still don't even feel that way sometimes, which doesn't make sense. But
maybe bring back the banjo, man, because there's not many hardcore or emo bands that use banjos. I mean,
I know, right?
You could probably like corner the market on that. I'm just throwing it out there.
But even with that, I didn't feel like it counted or something because like I couldn't do any cool plucking or anything. I was just strumming it like it was a guitar and doing like 2-finger chords, But I mean, there is something to that too. It definitely like helped me when I finally did come around to learning guitar. But I just learned guitar, like I learned what a power chord was and then went from there, which I feel like would be like a way better approach for kids wanting to get into instruments. Like,
absolutely.
I feel like they try and teach you how to run before you know how to walk.
Yeah,
you
go into your first lesson, you're not learning Stairway or a power chord. They're like, all right, we're gonna learn some classical guitar, and you're like, what? Like,
yeah,
I'm 8. What the fuck is going on here? But if you learn a power chord, you can write a song already.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that is about as far as like my playing an instrument went prior to moving here.
All right. Now, after seeing Kiss at your first concert, that's fucking amazing. That blows my shit out of the water. What was the first concert that you went to that you got to pick to go to on your own?
I almost want to say it was that Capitalist Casualties one. Like my dad took me to a lot of cool shows growing up, but like one that I went to on my own, it was that. And then shortly after that, the DIY space called Little Hamilton that existed that I would go on to play like a bunch of shows at, and was just kind of like, the home base DIY spot. They did like a 3-day festival of like, I think pretty much all local bands. So not long after that Capitalist Casualties verbal abuse show, I went to Yes Fest is what it was called. And it was actually like the week that I was moving to Nashville proper. So it was like perfect timing for me to like get involved in a scene and learn kind of like who the bands were and like what kind of stuff was happening around me.
Did you ever stray out of that scene that you put yourself into and like experiment with, maybe other types of music like power pop or,
I got into like rap music a bit in the sense of like producing beats and like recording rappers that I knew and stuff like that. But on my own, I was pretty much, once I found that scene, which in Nashville, there was like a huge garage rock scene with like Jeff the Brotherhood and Pujol and Diarrhea Planet.
Yeah.
And then kind of like happening completely separately, but simultaneously was like the like DIY, like crust or just like weird shit, like where you would see like noise shows and like weird like crust punk bands or power violence bands. Like that scene was happening at the same time, and I kind of went in between both. Like I would participate in like all of it.
All right. So I remember seeing Diarrhea Planet open for, was it? Yeah, it was The Darkness. And I was like, okay, these two bands don't belong on the same bill, but they were both fucking amazing.
That was a band that I totally took for granted and like didn't even like, I saw them a million times and didn't know how like highly regarded they were by people until years and years after they had stopped playing music. But I was definitely more driven towards the aggressive music. That was just kind of like, that other scene was kind of more what my like high school friends were into. And so I would go to those shows to hang out with them. But like, if I was doing my own thing or like hanging out with like band friends that weren't in high school, like we were going to the heavier stuff.
Yeah, and there's always times too when you look back at, like I mentioned it the other day on recording with someone that, there were bands that I took for granted. I'm from New Jersey, and there was a big spike in the early 2000s of just bands hitting, like Thursdays, Taking Back Sunday,
Big
My
time.
Chemical Romance, and it was like, at that time I had already gone through that first wave of emo, and that's where I attached myself to, and I was like, this isn't really what I think it should be. And those guys blew up, and then everybody's like, oh my God, they're so good and they're so revered now. And then I go back and listen, and I'm like, all right, yeah, I was just that judgmental prick at the time that maybe took it for granted because I'd 100%. Seen them in a fucking basement. I saw them in a basement 100%. When they didn't even know how to play their instruments.
Yeah. And also like for me, another part of it was like just being like a kid in a DIY scene who like thought I knew everything and was like so staunchly like serious about like politics and shit. Like those bands that were just having fun and having a good time, I kind of would like, look down upon. I was like, what are y'all even doing if you're not talking about something, which I clearly don't feel that way anymore. But just at the time, the scene that I was more so in was very politically driven. So all that shit was like, yeah, we'll have fun and like drink beers to it and hang out. But like, I don't really care about this. And looking back, like Diarrhea Planet's such a great band.
They are.
Yeah.
How did you get into the producing portion of it and recording people? Like, how did that, I mean, I know the DIY scene kind of lends itself to having to learn how to do a lot of that shit on your own, but how did you start to branch out to want to help other people?
So I started getting interested in recording stuff like after our first band started, after Fenris started, just because I didn't know how to go about it. Like we didn't have any money or, we were just kids. So I was just like trying out to figure out ways to make it work and just like recording like one microphone in a room with like the full band, and always just trying to get the best thing that I could for myself, you know? And I got into more so like production stuff outside of my own music. Sorry, this is like kind of jumping around timeline wise, but
That's all right, man.
I started Fenris.
Yeah, we'll do the Marvel timeline right now. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's like Pulp Fiction. We'll piece it all together.
So I started Fenris. We did that band for a while. We didn't like break up or anything crazy happened. It just kind of faded out because we were doing other things. Me and one of the other members of Fenris started a band that I'm much more proud of at this point. It was a power violence band. It was called Profane Command. It was named after a magic card. And that was the band that I like did my first tour on.
You're
whatever.
Just all nerded out with wrestling, magic, cards, and like, wow.
Not so much anymore. I feel like I have such like I have a little bit of knowledge of these things from the time that I was interested, but can't really engage in like.
You feel like you deserted yourself?
Oh, yeah, all the time. All the time. I never stopped doing that. But anyway, Profane Command happened. And then it just kind of, friends move away. Scenes kind of like slow down and like, I don't want to say die out because I know there's still people making things happen in Nashville and there's still good Nashville bands, but it just wasn't the way it was when I was younger. Probably right around the time I was graduating high school. And I just thought that like what was happening in rap music was like interesting and cool. And that is how I got into that. Just like, I don't know, just I've always wanted to make music, whether that's like by myself or with other people. And at the time that felt like I just needed a laptop with like a DAW on it and I could like make beats and stuff. Because like my friends and my bands had like moved away and it just felt, and I didn't know how to play an instrument. So it felt like something that I could do because I've always just like been driven to make songs.
That's awesome. Now, when it comes to, writing songs, what was that like for you and trying to figure it out? And I mean, I'm sure when, Fenris started, I mean, you're just writing about what's going on in your life and, your teenage angst. But to get to the song structures where you are now with Kerosene Heights, I mean, how was that process for you learning and figuring it out to get to where you are today?
Just so much trial and error. I mean, like,
as I think, who was it? I think, I forget who said it, but they're like, yeah, I figured it out by writing 1,000 shitty songs.
Yeah, exactly. And like, I always had a thing for, melodic, like well put together stuff, like even the like punk music that my dad was exposing me to, like the things that I seem to like the best were, that have prevailed through my life, like things that I still listen to this day are like very chorus driven or like, they have like kind of pop structures to them already, even though they're not that. So like a lot of pulling from that, like, I feel like I just kind of through listening to music so much and like paying attention to it so much, I kind of like was able to go in with an idea of like where things are supposed to be and like how a song should like have its highs and lows. And Justin would say I'm like mainly high. Like he wishes that I could like chill out a little bit in regards to like moments and songs, but I don't know. I just
but that's where the magic happens.
Yeah. But I don't think I have like a super straightforward answer to that. It's just something that I think, and I feel like I'm still figuring it out, I mean, I still sit with projects open, just like I have 5 different parts. Where the fuck do they go? How does this make sense? I don't know. Yeah. So it's just an ongoing thing always.
Oh, well then I can't wait to see what comes next. Yeah.
And like sometimes there are a couple songs that we have, like probably the poppier ones even, that just come out. They just like, I'll write a part of the song, and then the next one comes, and then the next one comes, and that one is like chorusy, so I'll use it as it. Sometimes it just makes sense and flows.
Yeah, one of
right.
my favorite ones is very poppy. One of my favorite songs of yours is it's very poppy, and it was like the placement on the album too was I wasn't expecting it, and all of a sudden I was like, wow, what I fucking love this.
Which one was it?
Mission Valley Shopping Center.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. A lot of people really like that song, and I didn't know how that one would be received.
Well, it's received very well. I'll tell you that much. It's received very well because I fucking love it. So that's all that matters.
That was one of those ones that like Catherine, Same Shade of Red, like those are all pretty like, verse, chorus, like, and it just felt right. Like I don't go into any song planning to do that or trying to do that. But sometimes it just feels right. And those are examples of that.
What I think I love about, the album too, Southeast of Somewhere, I don't think we've mentioned it yet, but what I love about it is there's tinges, and I tell people, because some people try to like make all the songs sound the same when they put a record together, right? Because it's, a tried and true formula for stuff. But with you get the hardcore stuff, you get some power pop, you get some mathy stuff, and I love the combination where it's just like, well, these are our songs, and this is what we're putting out, and this is who we are. So
thank you so much. Yeah, the first album definitely feels like to us like a this is who we are, this is like what we do. Maybe in the future stuff might be a little bit more focused or something. But right now, like, I'm really happy with how that whole album plays through. Although the songs are different and can vary kind of drastically. I mean, even track 1 and track 2 are like opposites. I'm really happy with like how it all turned out.
Well, I think sometimes you need that too when you're starting out, and it's also trying to figure out your sound, right? Like there was a band, Nashville band, one of the first bands I had on this show that I absolutely loved because their first album was like, it was amazing. It was like, how do you get better than this? And then their next album was like, they went from a rock and roll band to a new wave band in the matter of a year. And I asked the question, and it was one of the best answers I've ever gotten from somebody too. I was like, did you think you were going to, you change your sound so drastically? Do you think, how do you think your fans felt? He goes, well, to be perfectly honest, we didn't even know what our sound was. We didn't even know who we were. We just wrote some songs, recorded them. And, it takes time to figure out where a band's going to go. And I was like, that's awesome. Some people are going to back away from it. It's like, we didn't even know who we were. So things change.
Yeah. And I get really interested in like trying to kind of follow those threads, they're like bands where you can hear them leaning into something more and more over time. Like Title Fight, for example, their first record is like a pop punk album. It's great, not full on pop punk. Like there's obviously a lot of hardcore there, but like you can kind of watch them like pull on that shoegaze thread until you arrive at the one I never listened to. I can't believe I'm spacing on the name of the third Title Fight album.
Well, that's because you never listened to it. So
yeah.
Now they know. So
yeah, please don't tell anybody this. People love that album. I'm literally looking it up because it's Hyperview. There you go. But yeah, just like it's cool to see bands kind of like, oh, you can kind of hear this sound on their first album, but then they really like dug into it, like from these specific songs or like these specific moments. I think that's always really interesting, just seeing where bands go, even if it's not a direction, like perfect example, Title Fight, even if it's not a direction that I like follow through with the entire way, I just like seeing where people's heads are at different times.
Yeah. And it's also, when you start to figure out who you are at that same time too, what happens is that it's nature. You're just getting older, you're getting more mature, things change, your tastes change, your life experiences change. And a lot of the times I do think it's like, for me, I look at a band like Green Day, I can't listen to their stuff anymore.
Yeah.
Because you're just writing the same punk songs you did when you're, 17 years old, and yeah, you wrote a rock opera at one point, but to me it like started to all sound the same. And when you're 50, let's or 60, let's change some things up a little bit.
For sure. And I'm honestly like, I've been writing a lot recently, and like, that's something that I've been in my head about is like, what I feel like the floor is open for our band, like we could go a million different directions. And I do kind of want to hone in on something for the next record, but I have no idea what that is. I'm writing like I'll write the most emo song I've ever written, and then like a rock song like the Hard Girls or Joyce Manor or something, and then like a screamo song. And I'm like, I have no idea which of these like threads I want to keep pulling at.
Yeah, but you don't have to pull out a thread, right? Like, just like I look at it as, with your album, you kind of built the foundation, right? And you already have the walls up in the house, but every wall's a different color. Yeah. And it's just whatever wall you're facing at chair's facing at the time. That's what you're allowed to do.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's the best way to look at it. It's just like getting in your own brain about things when you're like at the beginning stages of like a project that doesn't exist at all yet. You're like, what is this? This could be so many things.
Yeah. No one can fuck you up as much as you can fuck up yourself. So.
Exactly. Yeah.
Now, do you have a moment in playing all your shows and stuff, a moment that stands out to you for good or bad that it just occupies a part of your brain, talking about fucking yourself up? Like there's, so as many shows as you've already played in a short career, is there one that just stands out and again, I usually like to hear the bad ones, but for good or bad, something that's just, it's going to occupy that part of your brain forever.
Yeah, there's one that's like pretty fun from our August tour. It's like good and bad, so that's cool. We were playing at this place called Cling Thing, and it's a house venue in Akron, Ohio, I believe. And it's a really cool place. Like bands have been playing there for like over 10 years. And there's like notes from all kinds of bands that I love from all time periods that they've left from like playing shows there. It's just a cool spot, just one of those spots that worked out to be around for a long time. And so we're playing the show. It's a great show. It's a basement show, but it's like packed out and people are singing along. And, it's just a really good vibe. We're on tour with Elephant Jake at the time, first leg of our big like month-long tour. And I broke a string during our set, and I was like, shit, I think I can play through without this one. It was like the tiny E string. So like we go into the next song, I break another string. It's super important string. I'm just like whenever the show's great and like I'm really feeling it, there's a good chance I'll break a string. I'm bad about it. So I'm like, fuck, I have to fix this. So the song finishes, and I like look at everybody, and I'm like pointing at my guitar, and I like take it off, and I go over to this little side stage area that's tucked away, and all of a sudden I hear our bassist L start playing Blink-182 Dump Weed on the bass. And it turned into like my string change moment that I was like stressing about, just turned into an opportunity for like a Dump Weed karaoke led by Sal from Elephant Jake, that I just kind of got to watch side stage as I changed the string. That was really funny. It's kind of just a me thing to break strings all the time, but it's usually not that cool when it happens,
Yeah.
Like it turned into something very like fun and funny. Usually it's just stressful.
Well, yeah, those moments become stressful.
Yeah.
Is there a band that you played with that you stood back and watched and said, how are we doing the same thing that they're doing?
Yeah, like in a good way, because they rock so hard. Yeah. To be honest, the first time we played with Elephant Jake, the dates kept getting moved around, and so it ended up that Sal, one of their singers, just did an acoustic set. And like, I'm not huge on like the stripped down acoustic set thing for when stuff is supposed to be full bands. You know, you can just kind of tell. Like, I appreciate when people make it happen, and I love hearing people's songs, but um, I personally go to shows for like rowdiness. You know, that's just me. But when Sal played this acoustic set, like, I seriously almost cried just at like the talent that this dude had, like the way he can sing and the way he plays guitars, and like captivated the whole room in a way that I had never. It felt like a full band was like rocking out on stage. Um, just the energy that he brought to it, and like the way that the whole audience was captivated by it, when normally during like an acoustic set you might hear people like talking in the background, or like it was just like all eyes on this dude, and I was just like, wow, we're about to go on tour with this guy, and like they're so fucking good. And then, you know, when they played it as a full band, it was the same thing. They opened up for us the first night in Boston, and I was like, I don't even want to go on stage.
It's a tough moment.
Yeah, for sure. And like another one is like that same tour, or no, a tour in last May. Our Philly show got all messed up, and like through Twitter, thank God for Twitter, we got in touch with Evan Weiss, who is doing the Pet Symmetry 10 year.
Nice.
And he threw us on their show in Philly because we didn't have anything else. And that was insane. You know, it was very much like it was just crazy to see someone that I've looked up to for a long time, like a lot of people in the band do, reaching out to someone as small as us and like helping us in a way that he absolutely didn't have to.
Yeah, listen, and I can't stand Evan Weiss, and the only reason why I can't stand him is because he's so goddamn talented, and he fucking creates so much stuff and helps so many people. It's like, I don't know how he has
super cool, super talented, and super nice. Like, what the fuck?
Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
But
I just saw him.
He's awesome, man, and he's created some great music, and he does that for a lot of bands. And you know, you're looking for a place to play, and there's room for you. Yeah, come on in, like, yeah. And that's awesome, and that's like paying it forward for, you know, where he's come. You know, he's a Jersey boy too, and you know, we get a bad rap over here for you know, we're pretty nice people, few and far between, but there are pretty nice people.
No, yeah, for sure. I love the vibe too. Seems like they could be a dick, but super nice.
Yeah,
that's like a super cool energy to me. Just like,
yeah, there's no way between. I always tell people, listen, I can be your worst fucking enemy or your best friend you've ever had in your life, but you are going to make that decision for yourself. So
it's like people that you're like a little bit nervous to approach, but when you do, you're so glad you did. You know? My dad has lived in Brooklyn like my whole life, so I've spent a lot of time in the Northeast, and not specifically Jersey, but I've been to Jersey a good bit for shows and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to Kerosene Heights, if you had to play somebody one song of yours that you would say best describes who you are currently, what song of yours would you play for them? Like, taking into account they've never heard you before, and you're like, I'm in a band, here's a song of ours. What song of yours would you play for them?
Honestly, like, and I'm sure, you know what, like, going away for a while, we kind of buried it on the album, and I don't think it gets quite as much attention as it deserves. But I think it kind of like encompasses us in a band. Like, it's my story of that song specifically is like my story of how I ended up in Asheville and like how this band eventually got started. And I think sonically too, it covers a lot of ground with like feeling poppy at moments, but then getting heavy and like twinkly guitars and all that. Like, I feel like that song really covers a lot of ground when it comes to the band in terms of like, you know, how we ended up here being a band even, and like also sonically.
Nice. Good choice.
Otherwise, I mean, like Catherine too, I think that is like a really good like example of just the sitting in between the realm of like emo and punk music that's like still like catchy.
Yeah. Now, for yourself, do you have a band that never lets you down? You know, when you don't know what you want to listen to, you just always just go to this one band or artist because you know whether you're happy or sad, you're just that's what you need at the moment.
Yeah, I there's a couple and they're very different, you know. Like Joyce Manor is a band I can listen to all the time. Like I love that band. I think like their first 3 albums are so good, and then Cody also has like some of my favorite songs by them, but that band's like very comforting for me for some reason. Um, and then another one on like kind of a opposite side of the spectrum is Seisha, the screamo band from New York. They have been like that's probably a band that outside a band that I found on my own that has like lasted the test of time with me, you know. I mean the classics that I grew up on are still there, like maybe realistically like Modest Mouse or Gorilla Biscuits are bands that I've been listening to the longest, but like Seisha is a band that 100% feels like my own thing, you know. And I listen to that band all the time.
Wow. Yeah.
It's one of those bands that I feel like got me through a lot, you know.
Well, that's what you need. I mean, and that's why I always go back to that kind of stuff where it's the bands that never let you down because they're always there when you need them.
Yeah.
You know, there's people will be like, "What's your favorite band?" And I think it's a totally different category. Like because I have the bands that never let me down is like, you know, I have my maybe top 5, but my top 2 are completely different.
Yes.
But it's what I always need, and it's the 2 bands that have gotten me through the hardest shit in my entire life that I'll, you know, probably ever have to go through. And that's why I always be like, I don't know what I want to listen to. So it's where do I need to go right now? And it's, you know, one of the 2 bands that I always fucking have always loved since the day I fell in love with music. So
yeah. And like Seisha is like so huge for me, like in every regard. Like that was the first band that I was like, whoa, you can make heavy music that can be like melodic and like emotional on a lyrical level that isn't just like pissed off or like aggressive, you know? And like the music still is aggressive, but like what they're talking about is different than a lot of the like hardcore and stuff that I was into. And so that was huge for me and like still is like
yeah, happy lyrical hardcore. And you know, it's a hard thing to put together, and when it's done well, it's fantastic. But when it's done wrong, it's horrible.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, what's your if you were sitting in a room listening to something that you would think no one would know that you listened to, what are you listening to? And you'd be a little scared that somebody walked in on you listening to it.
Probably like some like 2016 to 2018 era like rap music, to be honest. I mean, my music taste is like pretty straightforward. Otherwise, I think most people who know about this type of music could like guess what I'm into. But I think that's the weird one that throws people for a loop. Like I love super auto-tuned like rap music, like Lil Uzi Vert and Young Thug and shit like that. Like
and that's the stuff that I can't stand.
Yeah, that's what everybody says.
Yeah, like it's hard for me because I grew up in the heyday of hip hop becoming a thing. Right, I'm an old man, so like I got to watch Run DMC, the Fat Boys, LL Cool J. I mean, one of my first cassettes ever was Beastie Boys' License to Ill. Like so growing up and then finding De La Soul, Pete Rock, CL Smooth, and you know all that kind of stuff, and De La Soul, try all that shit for me is like I try to educate, you know, my nephew who's probably your age, and I'm like, listen, I know you like this kind of stuff, I'm like, but just here's the foundation of it, man, and listen to. They got something to say. They're melodic in their raps. It was so amazing. So when like the whole auto-tune thing that my nephew loves, and I'm just like, I can't do it. Like I can't do
Yeah.
it. I can't find any saving grace, but it's so huge that it's like, what am I missing? And I try. Like that's the thing too. Like when there's something that I just don't understand, like when it comes musically, like if there's a band or any type of new music that is hitting, I'm like, all right, let me find inside of this what everybody finds. And
Yeah.
when it comes to that kind of stuff, I don't know what it like. The beats are fantastic. So I'm like,
I
all
can
right,
tell
it's
you
the
what it is for
beats.
me.
Yeah.
And it sounds silly now because like it's the music that like runs the radio, you know.
Yeah.
It's like it's as mainstream as it can get. But I'm 28. I got into rap music really young. Like I loved rap music alongside my love for hardcore and heavy music as well. Probably not as early as Run DMC and stuff. I didn't really listen to that, but like Biggie, Wu-Tang Clan,
Yeah.
all that, MF Doom. I was huge on MF Doom. All that stuff. I loved that stuff. Still do. It's still great. But for me, in like from like 2013 to like 2017, when all of that weird rap music was coming out, like all the super auto tune, like simple stuff, it kind of had the same pull for me as like hardcore did. As like, they're like, we're rejecting what y'all did. We're doing our own thing. It's new, it's simple, it's different, but this is like what we do. And I thought that it just had like a cool, weird attitude about it and like look and vibe that I was like intrigued by. And I thought it was just like, it felt really interesting at the time. Now it doesn't because all the music on the radio in the past 5 years is just like auto-tuned rap music. But at that moment when like rappers were coming up on SoundCloud and stuff, like it felt really new and like exciting, you know, like a new take on a genre that's existed since rap has, you know.
I get it. It was, going against the grain and saying, fuck the norm. This is our thing now.
Yeah, I just love things with a rebellious spirit, I guess.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
All right. World's going to end in 5 minutes. Meteor's going to crash into the earth. You have to listen to one song. What song are you listening to?
Lefty by Title Fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking fast. Did you study for this?
I did listen to Justin's episode.
You son of a bitch.
I didn't know if you were going to ask me that, but if you did, I was going to be ready.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I love that song. It also, yeah, I don't know. I just love that song. It feels like a very epic moment song to me.
Awesome.
Even though I cheated, I'm sorry.
You did cheat. That's fine. That's fine. You had it locked and loaded, ready to go. That's why I can tell. I'm like, nope, that was so they definitely listened.
That's the only one. That's the only one that I was like, because when you asked Justin, it just came to me. I was like, oh, I know mine.
Yeah, those they're the questions that you think about your mortality. Like one of my favorite things is in High Fidelity when Cusack's reading his funeral playlist. Like I'm like, those are things that I've thought about myself, and I'm just like, fuck, man. Like I've already have like a CD, which is funny that it's a CD. I need to put it on a USB, but hopefully by the time I die, USBs will be out. But like my friends know, like at my funeral, this is it. Here's my playlist.
Yeah, for sure. And like that, it's like such, I don't know. In that regard, that's like songs that make up who you are. As opposed to like what I feel like it would be cool to go out to. Because that's where I'm coming from it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Like hopefully some like slow-mo just happens, in the moment.
Well, I think it'll all happen in slow motion if it does happen. All right. Well, listen, gonna look forward to hopefully doing this again. If you don't get too big at some point, come back on the show. But right now I'd like to give you the opportunity to get more people to love you and follow you. So why don't you take this opportunity to tell everybody all your handles and how to follow everything that Kerosene Heights will be doing in the future? For sure.
So I don't even think I said it yet, but I'm Chance and I sing and play guitar in Kerosene Heights. We released our album last May. It's called Southeast of Somewhere. It's available everywhere. It's available on vinyl at nosleeprecords.com. If you're into that kind of thing, or at a show, if you see us at a show, we'll have it on vinyl. As far as this year, our socials are just Kerosene Heights at everything, other than Facebook. We don't do Facebook. And we have like a TikTok that doesn't get used. So if you just want to follow us there, you can, but nothing really.
But don't expect anything.
Yeah. We're not, we're a band. We're not content creators. Kerosene Heights on everything. This year we are going to be playing some festivals. That's like the main out of town shows that we're going to be trying to do are like festivals. We have a couple books we can't say anything about yet, but if you follow us on any of our social media, you can be up to date with that. We are going to be writing a lot this year. We have 2 splits that are going to come out in 2024. I can't say who they're with yet, but it's very exciting for us. Somebody we've looked up to for a really long time is on one of them, and a new band that we're good friends with that we're really excited to release some music with is the other one. And we're gonna start working on album number 2.
Nice.
Yeah, so hopefully you can catch us live this year somewhere. Another goal for this year is trying to make it out to the West Coast. That's the last part of the country that we have not been at yet. So I would say with like some certainty that we will be out there this year.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're now into our final segment where you first appeared. It's our weekly 3s, 3 things you're listening to that people would like to, you want people to check out. You give your 3, then I give my 3.
Okay, cool. I didn't prepare for this one, so give me 1 second.
It's the most important part.
Spotify. I know. Okay. First one that I've been listening to a lot is it's an album called Medium Gnarly by a band called Swiss Army Wife.
So awesome.
Yeah.
Have you heard it? My 3s before, yeah.
Yeah, so good. That album is so good. It's like it does everything. It fills the hole that Glockamora left in my heart in a great way. Just very fun, cool band. Secondly, I have been listening to a lot of the new Jerome's Dream record, 90s Screamo band that just put out a record this year. And it's great. It's like just super heavy. And then thirdly, I would say Goodness to Honest by Elephant Jake. They're a band that we went on tour with that I've been a fan of for a few years now. And they were nice enough to do that tour with us in August. And they put their album out, Goodness to Honest, last year. And I love every song on it. It's got like super fun, catchy, like rockin' emo songs and like really beautiful, quiet singing songs. Like Sal is a beautiful singer. So yeah, those are the 3 that I've been listening to most recently.
Nice. All right, my 3 for this week. My number 1 is a band called Those Without. The name of the album is called Bittersweet. It's good music. Check it out.
I'm typing it in my phone right now.
Next is a band called Dial Up Ghost. The name of the album is I'm Fine, I'm Fine. They took a left turn with their most recent album, but this album that I'm Fine is very, I want to say, early Merge Records-esque type of cool indie stuff. And last but not least is a band called Flooding. The name of the album is Silhouette Machine. It's a low, how do I try to describe it so people can get what they want from it? It's a shoegazy, lo-fi screamcore with a kick-ass female vocalist.
Okay, this sounds and looks right up my alley. Wow. Flooding?
Yeah, Flooding. Silhouette Machine.
Sick. 3 new bands to check out.
There you go. That's why we do this.
Hell yeah.
But Chance, I want to say thank you so much for not only being here, but thank you for what it is you do. Thank you for bringing joy into my life with your music, because that's I'm always looking for something new and something exciting, and I found Kerosene Heights at the right time when I needed it. And I want to say thank you so much for being the creator of that and for doing what you do. What you do matters. Not everybody has an opportunity to tell you that, but I'm here to tell you and get it down recorded to tell you what you do matters, and keep fucking moving forward, because I'm excited to see what comes next from you guys.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me. That's literally the only reason that I do this, is to hopefully to connect with people.
Well, you've connected with one person, because here we are, total strangers around the country, just talking. So,
well, it's worth it then.
Yep. But thank you again, and everybody, you know what time it is now. It's time to go out, listen to Kerosene Heights, and have a great fucking time.
I swear to God, I'll beat some kerosene in my ass, swear to God.
Thanks again for tuning into the Hidden Tracks podcast. We hope you enjoyed this week's show. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at HiddenTracks99. Also, send all your submissions myhiddentracks99@gmail.com. Tune in next week. You may find your new favorite band, and don't forget to go out and have a great fucking time.